So welcome back, guys. First, we're going to take a couple laps around the car and show you guys exactly what our Bronco Sport looks like if you've never seen one before. So as I'm showing you guys around the vehicle on the outside, just kind of wanted to talk to you about what went into our decision about getting the Ford Bronco Sport. So previous to this, we actually had a Ford Explorer. As the kids are getting a little older, we didn't need as much room in the back as you typically get with a Ford Explorer. And most importantly, we didn't have four-wheel drive capabilities on the Explorer. So that played a large amount into the decision of getting the Ford Bronco Sport. As most of you probably know already, the Ford Bronco Sport comes in all-wheel drive, and with that all-wheel drive, it just gives you some capabilities right out of the gate that you don't get with some other vehicles. As you can see up top, we have what is called a Yakima LockNLoad rack. That Yakima LockNLoad rack comes with the capability to snap right onto these bars with the addition of the Timberwolf low profile mounts. I got this entire setup, including the rack and the mounts, for I believe close to about $1,000 on Amazon. You guys have seen my channel, what we're doing an off-grid cabin up in the mountains, and you know, we needed the potential to be able to load up a generator, load up some different, you know, boxes of tools, that type of stuff while we're up there, while still having the ability to put those, you know, suitcases, clothes, you know, food, case of water, or something like that in the back. So having that rack is key, and it's very versatile, and it adds a little bit more versatility and utility to this vehicle. So let's go ahead and get on the inside, and I can show you what the inside looks like and talk about some of the things that we have had issues with on this Bronco Sport. As we open the door here, you can see that it's very sleek and stylish on the inside. You have these nice cloth seats here that everything is very aesthetically pleasing. Very nice, color coordinated with the gray and black throughout the vehicle. Plenty of headroom, and there's actually a fair amount of technology in this vehicle. This is of course with the Big Bend version, but you've got the GOAT modes for the different, you know, situations that you find yourself getting into, as far as muds, ruts, sands, and stuff like that. But even as far as the push button start here. So it's definitely, Ford is, you know, upping their game when it comes to technology. And, you know, that's something that we definitely appreciate on this vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and hop in here and show you exactly what it looks like when I'm sitting inside. So what's kind of unique about this vehicle, the Ford Bronco Sport, is that it was actually built on the same unibody as the Ford Maverick. You know, the Ford Maverick is it's not as a traditional truck in the common sense that it is a unibody, and it does share the same as this vehicle. So what that does as a unibody in the Ford Maverick in this vehicle is that it has a very, very smooth ride. The ride is, you know, more familiar to a car than it is, you know, a bouncy suspension of what you find in normal trucks. So as far as the ride on the Ford Bronco Sport, it's very smooth, and overall it's a very comfortable feeling vehicle. So I'm 5'10", and as you can see, I've got plenty headroom. As far as a larger person, 6 foot, 6'2", I've got plenty of leg room. I can still, you know, adjust the seat down. I can adjust the seat forward. I can even adjust the seat a little bit further back if I need it to. That's actually a little too much for me. So it's definitely enough room for a larger person. The steering wheel is a nice shape, nice feel, and there really isn't a lot of negative things that I can say about the inside of the vehicle. So I just wanted to engage those different drive modes for you to exactly show what I'm talking about. You know, in a traditional four-wheel drive, you know, you have four-wheel drive on and you have four-wheel drive off. Well, in an intelligent four-wheel drive system, as I talked about in my Maverick video, it actually feels the slip of the wheel, and whichever wheel is slipping, it takes that power and it distributes that to the other three wheels. So the GOAT mode essentially allows you to adjust that type of power signal. So in a situation like sand, where it's going to continue to just be spinning free and free and free, it's gonna have a different setting than if it's in mud or if it's actually in ice. If it's in ice, once it feels that slip, it's actually going to limit how much throttle you can send to those wheels. So you can put it on the gas as much as you want. It's actually going to throttle limit you when you're in an ice or slippery mode. So I'm going to turn these modes on and actually let you take a look at what they look like when you engage them. So I'm going to go ahead and engage one of the GOAT modes here. So as you see, you have different drive modes: normal, eco, sport, slippery, and sand. So for the most part, even when we are going up our property, up at the mountains, our driveway, we don't have to do anything for those GOAT modes. We don't have to change the drive modes at all. Naturally, this thing can get up, you know, slippery driveways or muddy driveways, or you know, ruts and stuff like that on its own. You don't need to engage those. However, if you do need a little bit extra fine tuning in situations such as sandy environments or icy environments, or where you're not able to get enough traction, you do have the capability to do that. So Ford has added that to this type of package. Whether it's with other packages other than the Big Bend, I'm not 100% sure, but that's something that you'd have to definitely look into yourself. So one of the things I know a lot of parents are interested in these days is, can the back seat fit car seats? And I'm going to show you how much space is in the back, and you see whether or not it can. So as you can see, we've got our booster seat right here, and depending on how much room the adult needs in the front, I definitely think you can put a car seat in here. What's really great is that there's still plenty of headroom. There's still plenty of leg space right there. And like I said, I was 5'10", and I had it pretty much scooted all the way back. And you can still sit in here comfortably. At least 1, 2, maybe 3 adults sitting in here comfortably without much issue. You have these pockets just like similar to every other vehicle, except something different that I haven't seen before is that these actually zip up. So you can actually zip stuff up and stick it in there, which is pretty cool. Haven't really seen that before, but it's neat. You have the AC control, and unlike the Maverick in my previous video, this actually doesn't have a 3-prong, but it does have a USB-C and a standard USB plug-in for charging devices. You do have the ability to adjust the AC control from open all the way to, I believe, shut, but there is not a dual zone capability in the Big Bend. So moving on to the back of the vehicle, what's really cool here is that you actually have the ability to open just the glass or open the back door compartment of the Bronco Sport. And let's take a look at that. That you can actually open the glass separate from the door, which is standard in a lot of vehicles, but it's pretty cool to be able to do this because our Explorer didn't have this. So I'm gonna press the soft button here. Next thing you know, pops open the hatch, and now you can access the rear without actually opening the door. So that's really cool if you want to put, you know, whether it's, you know, a cooler in the back for when you're tailgating, or you got to grab your kid's book bag when you get to the drop-off line. But it's really cool to be able to just open that hatch and not have to open the entire door. So, but if you do just have the door, it's another soft button here next to the rear backup camera. And there you go. You got the entire thing open. So as most vehicles have it, you're gonna have your tie downs here for your car seats or some sort of tethers. And what I really like about this is this hard packed material, this plastic that makes, you know, putting trash or something in the back easy in case that it spills. You can clean it up without worrying about it staining the carpet that's back here forever. You know, once you stain that carpet, you're never getting that smell out. So grab here, obviously, with a full-size spare, and these nifty little lights. So you press that, and it's got little LEDs in the back of this thing that actually can pop up again for if you're tailgating or something. And now it can shine down here. A lot of people use this for overlanding or for off-roading. And there's little features like this lights that just makes things so convenient. You know, you pull up to the coast, you know, you go up, you know, up on the beach, and you turn on your lights. Maybe you got a little camp stove or something like that. You just sit on the back, you're fishing, you got your cooler, you're camping out, you're cooking dinner, and maybe you're popping a couple beverages on this thing, which apparently is pretty standard for Ford right now. But overall, it's really cool. Right here we have a 12-volt outlet. It's not a 115 like on the Maverick, but it is a 12-volt outlet for you to, once again, take advantage of some of that utility that this vehicle provides. And it's really great. Another thing that's cool is you can actually position this at different heights. So if you have something in the back here that maybe you want to raise it or something like that, you can stick it there to have it raised up where it's angled kind of slightly at a decline, or you can pull it out and put it down like that, so that way it's completely flat. But that kind of keeps drinks from, you know, coming at a stoplight. Everything always seems to go boo, 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 rolls towards the front. Well, at least with that slight incline in the bed in the back, excuse me, it will keep everything from shifting towards the front. So that's pretty neat. Standard like any SUVs, you've got the buttons here, and I will press those and show you guys what it looks like when both seats are pressed down. So coming from the back, you have this little button here, which is very easy to push, and then you're just gonna pull the seat forward, and that's gonna lay that down. So if you wanna lay it forward just to give you a little bit of extra room, that's what you can do. Or if you choose, you can go ahead and remove the headrest. So in order to remove the headrest, it's very simple. You just grab this button right here, press, and you can either lean it forward and then try it again. And now, as you see, it leans down almost completely flat. So we're gonna go to the next side, show you guys what it looks like when both are folded down. So I've came to the right side of the vehicle, and yes, at this moment, I have stuck the booster seat in the front just so I could show this to you guys. But just like on the other side, there is a button right here. Press that, just like the other one. It's gonna go down. But what's cool about this one, you don't have to fold that if the seat's not all the way back. But in the event that it is, it folds down just like the left. So as you can see, that gives you a fair amount of space to stick in the back. Let's say maybe some people want to throw up some sort of mattress or something in here. You could easily tent camp in here or bed camp in here, especially with the utility of the lights. And I'm sure at this point you guys have been skipping all over my video, really screwing with the retention numbers, trying to find out what we hated about this vehicle. And here it is. So from day one, we got this vehicle, and whenever you would reverse, it would make this god-awful squealing noise. I mean, like, it was like your grandpa gave you a wheelbarrow and didn't oil it for the last 70 years. And it just, as soon as you would go put it in reverse, back it up, it was just a...
Watch out for the elk scat.
Like a freaking bugling elk in the mountains. So, after dealing with this thing for 15,000 miles, thankfully, finally, Ford issued a service bulletin that said they needed to replace all of the bushings for the brakes. And thankfully, that fixed it. We were very, very, very happy that Ford issued that service bulletin and replaced those, because it was so loud that it was almost to the point to where it was embarrassing. You know, you spend this money on a brand new vehicle and you can hear it screeching from across the parking lot on a cold morning. And sometimes it was so random that you never really knew when it was going to do it. You would think that it would do it first thing in the morning when it was freezing cold outside, but sometimes it would do it, you know, in the middle of summer, or after you've been driving it all day, going back and forth to different places, you go to put it in reverse and it's doing again, you know, that loud squealing. So that was the first thing that really bothered us about this vehicle. And the second being something that we just experienced here recently. So as we were driving it one day, my wife told me that the vehicle kept spinning tires, or scraping whenever she was leaving a driveway or some sort of place that had an incline or decline. And unsure of exactly what it was, I assumed that maybe it was just spinning tires from a gravel transition to a paved. Unfortunately, that wasn't what it was. She came home that day, I got the vehicle and I checked it out and I tried to recreate it over and over. And if you're having a similar sound as this, or you're checking out the Maverick for the first time, you're checking out the Ford Bronco for the first time, what you want to do is you want to take it to a road and you want to just hit it to a complete stop, and you want to just punch the gas. Obviously to a safe speed limit, but doing that really quick acceleration is what I did to get it to manifest every single time. Other than that, slowly accelerating from a stop, it would never do it. It always had to be at a quick acceleration. So what we found was this. We actually took it to the dealership, and the dealership said they couldn't recreate the sound. They said, well, we can't recreate the sound. Is it happening intermittently?
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
After speaking with the dealership again, telling them exactly how to recreate the sound, they went through and they did it to the T, and they called us back and said, you're absolutely right. We were able to do it every single time. So they took it back under the lift, found what should have been the culprit, and tightened it. Thankfully, it fixed it. Underneath the vehicle here are these different types of plates, different types of coverings and heat shields. Well, come to find out, underneath these heat shields and plates, there was another affected part by a service bulletin. So there was another service bulletin that said that the fuel cell heat shield cover was such and such, had a tendency to get loose or was not tightened correctly from the factory. And like I said, once they tightened the bolts, we didn't have any more issues with it. And besides those two things, this has really been a great vehicle for us. Don't let that stop you guys. I really recommend this vehicle for younger families, smaller families, or people that are just really trying to get out there and do stuff on the off-road, or kind of, you know, hitting the mountains, hitting the lake, hitting the beach, taking it out for a weekend or for a trip. It's been a great vehicle for us, and hopefully it's going to be a great vehicle for you guys too. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for being a friend.